Hello. I am in an odd space. So, I had a great conversation yesterday over some tea, so I figured I would have a bit of tea and have a similar conversation. I'm drinking chrysanthemum tea actually. The idea is when you use tea for meditation, just inhale it so that you get all the medicinal aromatherapy effects. So, somewhere I dump my extra teas. So I had this conversation about grace. I was trying to translate what grace meant. And it was very interesting because to understand the concept of grace, we hear, in this culture, people talk about saying grace at the end of a meal. Say grace, act gracefully, that kind of thing. And to me, it took on a whole new meaning. It became an act of self-care. It became an act of acceptance and forgiveness, right? For self. And I never quite understood it before, where people would tell me that you need to soften. You need to soften your heart. Not be so hard. Now, I often have that problem where I instantly become my loving self, yet at the instance of the other person showing their own individuality, their own uniqueness, their own opinion, their own way of doing things, that I take this personally because it was shown to me that love, care, kindness meant conformity. Excuse me while I situate myself on this meditation pillow. But the kindness and the conformity, like, that is not what love is. That is not how relationships work. So that's, I think, actually we get really mad at things in the world, is because we think that everything's supposed to meet us and supposed to come to us and be our way, when really this universe is just the intermingling of a lot of different energies, a lot of different personalities, a lot of different spirits. And we tend to, think that we have some type of control over this. We have some type of control over other people and what they do. Really, if other people are responding to what you say or what you've done for them, that's their own choice. That's their own free will. It really was their decision to respond to your stimuli in that fashion. End of story. But we believe for some reason that we had control over it. We truly think that because we did this thing, it made this thing happen. Not true. It's an illusion. It's all an illusion. And so this brings me to the part about grace. Grace is about cutting yourself some slack, but still having judgment. And judgment is not in the way of the ego. Egotistical judgment is totally different. That is a personal feeling. That is pardon my tea as I spill it. That is a personal, childish reaction. I don't think this is good. I don't like the way this was done. Whereas grace is like diplomacy. It's like spiritual diplomacy. It is how you judge your actions with kindness, how you forgive your actions with kindness, how you judge others' actions with kindness, and how you forgive others' actions with kindness, and or accept others' actions with kindness. It's a big thing to take in, and that's what it meant when people would tell me that I need to soften my heart. It took me 5 years to figure it out, but I figured it out. Oh. It's not a easy concept to embody either. It can be very difficult to overcome the urge of what you want personally for you in this illusionary world. I know that this is like a hard concept for people to grasp because we get so bent up on facts and I believe in science. I enjoy science. I enjoy reading a textbook because I'm boring. But it's more than that. This spirituality of the things and of the world cannot go unnoticed. It does not mean you have to believe in a God. It does not mean you're Christian, you're Catholic, you're Buddhist, you're Muslim, anything like that. Spirituality is your own personal journey outside of yourself, outside of your ego. And people tend to overlook that. And you can be atheist and be spiritual. I know that sounds crazy. But believing in something other than you, even if it is just creation itself and not believing necessarily that creation came from, a higher power, another being. It's just about seeing outside of yourself. And I think that that's something that people don't tend to do. And that's why people cannot act gracefully. It's hard to act gracefully if you think you are the center. Why should you act with grace if you are the center? It doesn't not make sense to think that way. But learning how to soften my heart, learning not to be so reactionary, learning how to act with grace has literally destroyed me and built me back up. It was very hard to realize that I have no control. I have no control over anything, anyone. I just do the best I can. And sometimes it's not good enough. Sometimes it's just right. But it's been something that has allowed me a lot of space to change. And for that, I am thankful. And I don't miss old Jade at all. Old Jade was chaotic. And while I love her, there are parts of her that can change and parts of her that can't. So even self-forgiveness is important with grace. And that was something I had to learn, and I learned that today. I was getting very upset by the way what my brain was doing and how it was thinking, making you go to dark places, and then you pull yourself back out, and you go back to the dark place, and you pull yourself back out, and you go back there, and you pull yourself out. And it's just like, it had to stop. It had to stop. So I stopped it. I said, hey, instead of saying you're stupid, you're weird, like, you're annoying, like, oh my God, you keep doing the same thing over and over again. Why are you trying to control the situation? Like, I said to myself, hey, this is how you react in this situation. And you literally have done this for decades now. There are certain parts of it that you were able to change, and certain parts that you weren't. So we're going to have to just let this ride. You're going to just have to accept the fact that you hurt sometimes. You're human. Baby J don't want to be human. Baby J wants to be made from the ether. So she gets upset at that. But it's okay, because doing my shadow work and working on my inner child, all that jazz. She comes around. She always comes around. So I took my ass on the rest of that hike and cried all the way back to my car. And I acted with grace. I gave myself the space to do whatever it was. Think all the thoughts that I want to think that I can't stop. That just is what it is with OCD. And mixture of PTSD and ADHD. I got all the D's. So it's, living with the combination of these things that keep happening, and personality quirks and traits and neurodivergence, coming to terms with grace and being kind to myself, just like I would be kind to somebody else. If somebody else was having a panic attack, I wouldn't go up to them and be like, what is wrong with you? You're a stupid jerk, and then smack them. Maybe I would if I didn't like them. No, I wouldn't. Maybe. Anyway, so I would not do that. I would not do that to myself. So I'm not going to do that to somebody else. I'm not going to do that to myself. So I gave myself that space. And I'm allowed to hurt. I'm allowed to cry. I'm allowed to be upset. And I don't have to control everything. And sometimes I'm going to change my mind. Sometimes I'll say yes, and I'll be so gung-ho on something. And then I'll just realize, give myself some grace. Is that really for you? No. The answer is no. And sometimes it's yes. I feel like I'm rambling a little bit, but this really does make sense. I promise. So just be kind to yourself. It's really, really hard, and you'll probably fail a whole bunch. Because I did. And if you don't, then that's what's up. You're an OG, and I am proud of you. But I don't think that is the case for most of us. We're humans. We're just big old meat computers completing out this algorithm here in the Matrix. So thank God for psychedelics. Thank God for cannabis. Thank God for herbal medicine. Thank God for therapy. Thank God for science. Thank God to getting better. We all deserve to heal. Yes, we do. Just activate.